our lock. We do have a PA system today, so at least everybody can hear. And then what I am going to do is just to ensure that the coaches and everybody hears the questions that are asked. I'll just bring a roving mic around as well. So we are going to start with English for about 20 minutes, and then afterwards, the last 10 minutes, we'll switch to Afrikaans, and then you can ask your questions over there. But I will give you a timeline on that. We are about 3 minutes early, so or 2.5. But I think we can start if that's okay with everybody. So first question.
Coach, hi, Simon Burke, SABC. Last week you might have hinted at the fact that if you name your team too early on a test week, it maybe gives Wales a look at your cards. You named it on a Tuesday. Is this something that you want to do, or is it maybe inconvenient?
No, I think if you look at it's logistics, just works for us better. I mean, normally it will be on a Wednesday or even on a Thursday. I'm not sure when it's supposed to be in, so there is a regulation around when you have to name your squad, but I don't even know when that is. It's just for us logistically better to do it on a Tuesday. Yeah.
Giving Wales a look at the team?
I think if you Wales probably have a pretty good idea who we would have selected in any way. It's maybe 3 or 4 guys, and the same us looking at them. So I think you kind of have an idea who they're going to select and stuff like that. So no, like for us, I mean, they can prepare. They probably would have prepared. They would have. So we prepare for each other. It's irrespective of who you select. I think you probably prepare for that whole squad. So yeah, I don't think it gives anybody an edge. The preparation's probably been done already.
Jacques, can I just ask you a question about your thinking in terms of selection policy? Now, it's widely accepted that you only pick your 23 on the basis of people who are able to train on a Monday. Now, as an outsider, you might look at this 23 and say, well, are you perhaps creating a problem or an additional challenge at fly half? Can you just talk about the thinking in terms of that? If you're not here on Monday morning, you can't play on a Saturday.
Yeah, for us, it's basically we want to select people that we coach during the week. So let's say we haven't coached a guy on a Monday and we've coached another guy on a Monday. We just feel that the information that we and the coaching that we do with the player just puts himself in a better position. So I don't think there's anything sinister or anything like that. And we had, I mean, Andre was with us on Sunday. So I think maybe you asking was Andre not here on Monday?
Yeah, when did Andre arrive?
I think they played on Friday. I think he flew on Saturday and he was here on Sunday.
So he could conceivably, according to that mantra, still have played?
Yeah.
So why isn't he in the 23?
Yeah, I think you can probably ask that for a lot of players. There's 20 who's not in the squad.
I'm asking about Andre.
Yeah, and I'm going to answer you about Andre now. The thing is, we've got certain boxes that we want to tick, and there's a plan with all 42 guys who's currently in the squad. And we've been open and honest with the players. They know what our plan is, and obviously the plan can change. Like I said last week, the big thing for us is to, things that will probably influence the plan is if we don't have performance or we get injuries. So, but the players know what is our plan, and hopefully things will go our way this weekend, so that we can continue with that plan, and it will play out in the next 3 weeks.
Hi Jacques. On the bench there's probably going to be a lot of questions asked about about Ulrich Lowe being preferred to Evan Roos. Is that basically because in Kwagga you've got someone who can cover that sort of linking, you know, the strengths that Evan has, Kwagga has a bit as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think again, I think there's certain boxes we want to tick with all the players that's here, and we just felt I think if you look at the team that we selected, there's a balance between guys who haven't trained with us in the last 3 weeks. But there's also guys that have been part of us for the last 3 weeks, you know. So there's a balance of that. And then there's a balance of players with lots of test experience. And then there's also a couple of guys who's going to make their debut. So I think when we looked at, obviously, like I said, there's a bigger plan that we have. We had actually in this 6-week block from the start of the preparation camps to the end of the 3 test matches against Wales. So we've got a big plan in our head. Or can I say a high view plan, and there's certain boxes that we want to tick, and I think the team that we selected for this week in terms of balance, in terms of what the boxes we want to tick, I think it's the best team that we could have ticked for that specific reasons.
Jacques, here in the front. Jacques, just on Damian Willems, last season you used him as a backup 10, 12, he's now back at fullback. Just maybe talk about your plan with him. Is he played a bit of 15, but mostly a 12 in the URC, and then also Evan Roos. Do you see him as primarily an 8, or do you see him somebody that can also move into 7 as well?
Firstly, on Damien, yes, I think Damien for us is similar. A similar project, or since we started with him, the project was almost. If you look at what Frans Steyn brings to the team, you know, it's a guy that can play 10, it's a guy that can play 12, a guy that can play 15. I think Damian Willems is probably in that mold for us. And then in terms of Evan, yes, I think he's such a talented player. I'm not sure, I haven't seen him play anything else but 8. But obviously, I think if we pick him at 7, he'll play at 7. If we pick him at lock, he'll play at lock, you know. So I think he's such a talented player with such a good skill set. But yeah, so wherever there's opportunity, I think, and if we select him, he would take that opportunity, and it doesn't matter what position it is.
Liam?
Hi, Jacques. I know some of this will be performance sort of based, and you did answer it partly earlier, but how wide would you want to sort of cast the selection net just in this series, ideally?
Yes, if we can get exposure or international or test match exposure to all 42, it would be awesome. And I mean, if you probably ask what's our platinum plan, it will probably be that. But like I say, there's a massive responsibility on the 23 guys that got selected for this week to obviously lay a foundation and to make sure that there's performance. If there's not performance, we have to change our plans. But ultimately, if we can, if it's possible, and if injuries allowed it and performance allowed it, it would be awesome to give exposure to all 42 guys.
Jacques, sorry, just on Damian Willems again. You mentioned that he's quite a roving type of player, you know, and we've seen actually at the Stormers as well, even though he played at 12, you know, he slotted in different positions at different stages. But just how excited are you to actually have him now in the setup, given a season where he really was the fulcrum together with Warwick Gelant, you know, of that Stormers attack? You must be really excited to see how that growth in the URC, you know, translates to international level.
Yes, no, I'm glad for him, you know, because like last year we had a plan with him on the end of year tour, and then unfortunately against Wales, I think he lasted 12 or 13 minutes and he got concussed, and then he wasn't up for selection for the Scotland game, and then obviously we went into England. So yeah, I'm glad, and I hope, touch wood, that things will work out for him this year, and we can give him an extended run and to get him as much exposure as possible in international rugby. But again, saying the ball is probably in the 23 guys that got selected, scored. You know, they must make sure that there's performance. They must make sure they tick the boxes that we want them to tick.
Jacques Nienaber, is this the toughest team you've sort of had to select, and how much did you sort of struggle with keeping the old but also bringing in the new as well? Please,
yeah, I think it was a tough. Yeah, it was. I said it last week. I think if you look at the 43 guys or 42, bar Johan Goosen, who's recovering from injury and who was part of us in that first 3 weeks, I think all 42 guys were selected on form. You know, they were in form when we did their roadmaps. They were the informed players. So it was a tough team selection in terms of getting to a 23. But like I say, we had this plan on what we are trying to achieve within the 6 weeks. So we ticked a couple of boxes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, some guys went on and stayed out of our hands for playing in the URC final and stuff like that. Fortunate for them to get exposure into that. But again, on our side, we didn't have coaching time with them. So and now we're in this 3-week test match block with Wales. And yeah, our main thing is yeah, it was a tough team selection. I think if you could have selected other guys, the players that got mentioned today, and they wouldn't have adopted the team. But hopefully, if things go according to plan, we will see them in somewhere in the near future operating for the Boks.
Jacques.
Yep.
Oh yeah. You saw a few of the Welsh players, obviously on the Lions tour, some of the big names out here last year. Which players from that tour who you'll be seeing this weekend were you impressed by?
Yeah, no, I think I'm impressed with Wales. We've always said, and I know people say, listen, yeah, Jacques probably trying to get the team not to probably listen to the media. And, but I mean, I can only go on reality. And like you said, there was a big contingency of that Wales team, of the British and Irish Lions were Welsh players. And then also the reality is, yes, Wales lost the last 4 games in the Six Nations. In the Six Nations. But I think if you look at their last 4 games, I mean, it was a 2-point a year against France, or 4 points against France, 4 points against England in Twickenham. You know, it's a 2-point year. And yes, they did lose against Italy. But the reality is, yes, they did lose 4 games. Their last 4 games, but also the reality is, listen, they were within a try of winning those games. So again, Wales is also always a tough test match for us, and I expect. I'm not going to single out players, but I think they've got a well-balanced side. They've got lots of experience. I mean, if you look at the squad they brought here, I think the average test cap within that squad is 36. So they know what they do, and I think it's going to be a tough test.
Just secondly, were you surprised to see Alan Wynne-Jones stripped to the captaincy for this tour? Obviously, such an experienced figure.
No, like I say, I think it would be irresponsible for me to comment on decisions Wales make, just like they won't in the team that we selected. Obviously, they've got certain things that they want to tick going and building into a World Cup, just like we have. You know, and there's a thought process around it, and they've got experienced coaching staff that's worked together for a long time since Scarlets. So I'm sure they have their reasons and they have their plans.
Guys, just a reminder, we've got 10 minutes left in English questions. Salman is here as well. He's making his debut off the bench if he takes to the field. So feel free to fire some questions his way as well. Brendan?
Jacques, sorry, just on Jasper. He's obviously had an amazing season in the UK. He's also a long-term project, and you guys used him at 8 last year. Maybe just talk a bit about him and what got him the nod ahead of maybe an Elric and Evan.
Yeah, I think Jasper, like you rightly say, he's also a project. You know, he's. Let me just check. I think he's on 11 caps now. You know, so and if you think of a long-term playing, taking players to the World Cup, you would like some more international caps within him. And this is one opportunity that he's had now. Yeah, and he's been awesome. Like I say, we do roadmaps or performance analysis on every single player that's in the squad in detail. So Mon won't talk out about that, but I mean he will know. They get reports on that. Once a month or whenever we feel there's a there's a little bit of a gap, we will have a chat with the players. So, I mean, and the same with Jasper, and he's been performing quite well for Leicester, and also in the things that we want him to perform in. So, not the finished project yet, like a lot of these players, or a lot of our players, and like I say, they're projects, and there's certain things that we would like them to achieve in this 3 weeks, if they get the opportunity to play. And also, the things that we would like them to achieve is not necessarily playing in the test match. It's also they've got a role and responsibility to play when they're not in the test match, in preparing the guys who is in the test the test 23. So there's a lot of things that we would like to see if the players can handle, and that will probably give them put them in a good position to take them forward into next year's World Cup.